was undocumented, there would be no documentation to share.
A California man suing the Las Vegas Venetian Resort, saying a scorpion stung his testicles while he slept there. Michael Farchi and his family were at the luxury resort last December, and he says the scorpion stung him at least 3 or 4 times. It was eventually found clinging to his boxers. He was treated at a local hospital and filed a report with hotel staff. He still had to pay for the room, he says, and is now suing the resort for an unspecified amount.
A small plane equipped with a parachute crashed into a neighborhood in Bellevue, Washington. Officials said the plane went down shortly after takeoff due to an engine failure. The parachute deployed and the plane ended up in a wooded area. Pilot and the passenger were not injured.
Federal investigators intercepted a package in Wisconsin containing rollerblades that they say tested positive for cocaine. The Kenosha County Sheriff's Office says the package came from Colombia and that the rollerblades' wheels were infused with a gelatin-like substance that allegedly contained cocaine.
According to UNICEF, 720 million women alive today were married as children, a cause our next guest has dedicated her life to as an activist, a CEO, a real-life princess. Princess Mabel van Oranje of the Netherlands was the wife of the late Prince Friso and is sister-in-law of King Willem-Alexander. She is using her platform to advocate for girls' rights, co-founding Vow for Girls, a global initiative seeking to end child marriage. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know it's a busy schedule. Before we get into the work, the amazing work that you're doing with child marriage, tell us how you came to the royal family.
Love. Very easy.
Easy.
I was an activist. I met my husband. We fell in love. And one of the reasons why he fell in love with me is because of the commitment with which I do my work, and including work on ending child marriage.
Well, let's talk about that. Vow for Girls. Tell us what it is and what is it that you do.
So every year, 12 million girls get married before the age of 18. That's one girl every 3 seconds. And I've met countless of these girls. I remember the girl who told me that her wedding day was not a happy day because it was the day she had to leave school. I remember girls who told me that their sisters who ended up as child brides actually are dead now because they died in childbirth because their bodies were not ready to give birth. For many of these girls, a marriage doesn't bring love. Actually, it brings domestic violence at the hands of their husbands. So child marriage is not a happy thing. And these are girls that if you ask them what they had wanted to do with their lives, and they say they wanted to be a nurse or they wanted to, be a policewoman, or some of them wanted to be president. And I believe that child marriage has basically taken the futures of these girls away. And that can change, and that has to change, because it's a big human rights abuse, but because it's also stupid. Because we know that a woman or a girl who doesn't end up in child marriage but who stays in school will earn more money in her lifetime and invest that in her family and help to lift her community out of poverty.
I love how you speak very frankly. Your organization has worked extensively with the wedding industry. So what are the vows you have encouraged couples to incorporate in there for your cause?
Now, these local projects happen all over the world, and we realize that when people hear about it, including the people who might be listening now, that they say, we want to make a contribution. And then we realize that the wedding industry and celebrations in general is a huge industry. In America alone, $100 billion a year is dedicated to weddings. And so we realized if we can mobilize a small part of that to help that make sure that girls elsewhere in the world can choose their own futures, that would make a huge difference.
Your travels have taken you all around the world. I know you just got back from the Dominican Republic recently. A lot of this, people here in America mostly will hear that and just be so shocked about child marriage, but it is cultural from place to place. So I would imagine education is a part of what you do. Education
definitely is a big part of this. And so last week I was in the Dominican Republic. Many of us think the Dominican Republic is basically a tourist destination, but there 1 out of every 3 girls is married before 18. And the projects that I saw, and these are projects that don't cost a whole lot of money. I mean, really small grants overall. They help to keep girls in school. They help to make sure that girls know about sexual and reproductive health services and how you can avoid getting pregnant. They help to make girls realize that if one of them is getting married, that they have to rally around and stop it. They help to realize the teachers to realize that this is not a good thing.
You called yourself an activist. You're an activist, obviously, before you were a princess. I'm curious that there are so many amazing causes that need attention all across the world. How did you come to this?
Well, the size of the problem made me realize this is something that needs to be tackled, but also the issue was not getting the attention it deserves. These 12 million girls were invisible. They often live in rural circumstances, they don't speak English, they're under 18, they can't self-organize. Everybody should have the same opportunity. That's what I strongly believe, and that's why I'm so passionate about this issue.
Princess Mabel, thank you so much for taking the time to come in and speak with us.
Thank you.
So we often see untold stories as tragic, but what about all the happiness? Director Sean Wang decided to bring the joys of his life to screen. His grandmothers, and their delightful short film is now nominated for an Oscar. Our Linsey Davis sat down with Wang and his grandmothers to discuss making art as a family and their exhilarating road to the Oscars.
You have said that your grandmothers are the purest form of joy in your life. How did you decide, I'm going to document this?
Well, I think it all goes back to 2018. And in 2018, we had made a Christmas card together. Waipo tries to feed me blueberries. I say no. She says, eat. I say no. She looks in the camera, slaps me. They look at each other and create a plan to essentially tie me up and kill me. It was the most fun I've ever had making anything up to that point. And so I knew that I wanted to make something else with them at some point, but I didn't really know what. And then fast forward to 2021, I had moved home to the Bay Area where I'm from, where we shot the movie. And it happened to coincide with a lot of rising anti-Asian hate crimes that were happening in the country, but especially in the Bay Area where, we all were at the time. And so I would go read the news and be sort of filled with this sort of extreme anger, and then I would go hang out with them and be filled with extreme joy. And so I kind of just wanted to make something that was, a container for people like them and them to feel seen in all of their joy, their pain, their silliness, their humor.
我现在83岁了，我感觉我还像20岁。我今年94岁，觉得都100岁，都很老了。
Can you ask Nai and Waipo? They say in the movie, "Oh, you're taking our lives and turning us into superstars." How they feel now that came to be?
很感谢大家，真的有。
She said, I'm so happy. I feel like I'm dreaming. I feel like I can't, even in my dreams, I could never have imagined this. We're so thrilled and we're so overjoyed with the amount of love that people have sort of showered us with and the film with. And then she said thumbs up to me, but and then she said thank you.
And how about for Waipo?
我感觉好像这是我的美国梦。
She said, this is my American dream. It's like the dream has come true.
Nai in the movie says, the days you spend feeling joy and the days you spend feeling pain are still the same days spent. And so she chooses joy. And that's such a lesson for all of us. And I just wanted to ask Nai, how does one go about choosing joy? How did she get to that revelation?
去那些不要的事情，我们就不去想了，只想快乐的事情就。
I've never translated for them before too, so I feel like I'm in like expert mode right now. She said, there's so much going on in life, and there's so much happening, but if we can just only think, especially at their age, the stuff that brings them sadness almost isn't productive. And so we're just going to try and focus on the joy, and it's a decision.
We, as the viewer, are really like a fly in the wall as they're in bed at night and talking about like the smells and all of that. They just seem like they were so comfortable on camera.
Yeah.
How were you able to get that just authenticity?
Well, I think Sam, who shot the film and is also one of our producers, we talk a lot about how heart doesn't cost anything, and the shoot itself was very, very intimate. It was me, him, maybe a sound person, and ultimately I think what makes this film special is them and the amount of intimate access that we had, an intimate relationship that we share. We really brought them in, and it was a film made with them and for them and about them, but also about this kind of meta narrative of me making a movie with them and them being my movie stars.
So if you win, then what happens? You go up and no speech, just a dance party?
I said that once. I was half kidding, but the more I think about it, I think, you know, maybe Oscars need everyone just stands up, has a 45-second dance party. I'm not against that.
你知道我们今天要做什么吗？
Okay, all right. And your reaction when you found out that it was Oscar nominated?
It was such a, I describe it as a chaotic joy, because that entire experience of getting nominated was right in the middle of me premiering my first feature film at Sundance, too. So I premiered my first feature film on a Friday, had this whirlwind weekend of finally kind of having this thing I made be at this prestigious festival that I love. So we flew home late Monday night, maybe got back at midnight, went to sleep at 2 in the morning, got up at 5 in the morning, watched the Oscar nominations with them. And it really was this, you know, the film has gone so much further than we had ever expected. Ultimately, we would have still made the movie because ultimately it was to capture them and their spirits for my family. But to have that Oscar nomination, to experience it with them was truly, like she said, I could never have imagined.
A real labor of love. Our thanks to Linsey Davis. Be sure to catch our brand new special Road to the Oscars featuring all of our conversations with the 2024 Oscar nominees Friday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern right here on ABC News Live and streaming on Hulu. Also, be sure to tune in to Countdown to Oscars on the Red Carpet Live. Whit Johnson and Linsey Davis will be hosting, featuring the biggest stars and nominees. That's Sunday, March 10th. Coverage begins at 1 p.m. Eastern right here on ABC News Live. And that's our show for this hour. I'm Phil Lipoff. Stay with ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks so much for streaming with us.
This week on
Good Morning America.
Garth Brooks has something super special to share.
This is just too cool. I cannot wait to show you.
And he's sharing it with Robin and you.
Robin Roberts, me, and GMA. I'm so excited. Let's do this.
This week.
Wait till you see this.
Only on GMA.
I love me some Good Morning America, and I promise you are going to love this.
Good Morning America, live from Nashville this week.
It's lunchtime in America, so what are we serving up?
Well, how about everything you need to know?
You know, that sounds pretty good.
Give it to me. Your health, your money, breaking news, pop culture, with the biggest stars, music, trends, and of course, good food. GMA 3, what you need to know. A third hour of GMA in the afternoon.
So join us, afternoons.
For everything you need to know. I love that.
I have a point of contact.
They're expecting us?
This is our secret world we have.
Do you think we're going to be safe?
I don't know.
This is my pen. Inside that pen is a slice of human brain.
These are assassinations and people are going to be murdered.
Definitely.
There's really no telling what some of them will do.
I'm in. Oh my God! It's happening everywhere and anywhere.
Wow.
Why
do so many people start their day here?
From ABC News, this is Start Here.
To be in the know and get a different take on the day's top stories.
A lot of news today, so let's get into it.
Listen now to the Daily News Podcast honored with 4 Edward R. Murrow Awards and see why the New York Times calls it a news podcast worth listening to. Start Here, ABC News. Make it your daily first listen.
Now, that's a part of the story I bet you didn't see coming.
Wherever you get your podcasts, Start Here.
I'm Matt Rivers, and that is the Panama Canal. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Tonight, several breaking stories as we come on the air. The storm moving up the East Coast, Washington, D.C. to New York City to Boston. The watch is up right now. In New York City tonight, the National Guard being sent into the subway to protect riders. And Nikki Haley dropping out of the presidential race. It's now Biden versus Trump. Where will Nikki Haley's vote